Well, hello everybody. Actually, I see how I bring this a little closer, right in my face here, so you can hear me good and loud. How's everybody doing today? How about you, Jenny? How are you doing today? I guess
I'm doing good.
good. Yeah. Well, my name is James Rink. For those of you who don't know, and this show is primarily focused on the secret space program topics, but occasionally we veer out into other directions. With today with Jenny Lee, the multidimensional seer. So yeah, we have Jenny Lee here today. So let's see here. I got to pull up your bio. You're a seer, remote viewer, medium, automatic writer, angel reader, and healer. So we're going to go into some more about current events. And so you've been working with other various families to find missing persons. You also help with law enforcement cases for 12 years as of 2021. So I guess that's what, 15 years now?
Yeah, it's been a
15
while already.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
In the process, she often uncovers corruption with high-level elites and sometimes even law enforcement. Jenny has some recall of her memories of being in the Orion, I guess another lifetime. I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, with the ascended masters such as Jesus, she has some SSP memories of being on ships. So you did
Ships.
yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Palladian ships, but yeah.
Cool. All right, so you also have some Oh yeah, we said that. Okay, Jenny Lee accurately predicted that the president 40, what do I say? 40, oh my God, 45, right?
Yeah.
So 45 was elected. You predicted accurately he would be elected in 2016. You also predicted that he would be elected in 2020. So it's probably both.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's accurate on that too.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Be careful what we say, but yeah. Censors. But yeah, so her predictions have been wiped from the internet because I guess it was like a list of other predictions, I guess, of other psychics. And
yes, I remember that, and they erased it. Because they were wrong. The next day on the election, they erased the whole process of it.
They were all embarrassed. Yeah, but you were right. Okay, you're the author of the book Walking Humble Spirit. Spirit told you that I want you to do this book for people who are starting out so they can understand energy and spirituality in a basic way and not feel frustrated. So her website is Jenny's site with 2 S's. Jenny's
site. Site. Yeah.
Cool. Wow. Well, thanks for coming on here, Jenny.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've done a show. You said it was a year. It's been a year.
February 20th of 2023, exactly. So over a year now, and here we are in the leap year. So certainly this is maybe this day has some kind of magical significance, but we'll find out. So audience members, thank you all for joining us here on the live stream. So I know we have some of Jenny Lee's followers in the chat. Thank you all for joining us, and of course my own folks. Since this is a current events show, I encourage you to put current events questions into the chat because I do have a few in my mind, but inevitably I'm dependent on you to come up with the best ones. So, well, how about Jenny? Where should we start with? What do you want to
start? Let's go back to when we talked about. I told you we talked about the quantum system a couple years ago. Me and you, and we on your show, and I went into, and I think people thought I was really lost my mind at the time when I said that the quantum system has its own conscience. You know, it knew things before you even put into motion of doing it. It already knows what your intentions before you do things. And now it's come to the point they understand that it does have its own conscience, and that's kind of hard for people to understand, because we think computers, and then you think, a human conscience, and it's not that way. It's a futuristic process. So you can't corrupt it, and that's what we're going into, that you're seeing that it's uncorruptible. So, I think the quantum system is going to be connected to everything that has to do with our lives.
How about this? Let's explain what is the QFS, the quantum financial system, in your own words, Jenny.
My own spiritual words, it's a higher conscience system that makes humanity fair, and it's highly advanced it's ahead of our conscience, way ahead of that. But also, I said that there was a quantum system here, and then it's connected to our higher universe. So I drew two systems that were here and then in the universe. So for here, I mean, we have to get into a process that we think money's important. Eventually, that process will go out the door, and then we're not going to need it. So I think like the slow steps of pushing the bank back is going to be that progress that we're going into. And tapping into the quantum system and not having the bank there for everything is going to alleviate that whole process. And so we're not used to that. That's going to be something new that we're expecting to go to the bank for everything, and we're not going to have to. But I actually think that's where the Q phones come in too. I think that's going to be your dial in for everything instantly too. So, and that the intentions of anything that was negative would never have access. You can't lie to it. It's just fallible. You can't even get into that system if you're step up to the intentions, and it's going to shut down on you completely. So, and I actually think it knows your DNA. I think it knows everything about you from the time that you were born to everything. So I think it's going to be within seconds to get any information that it already has. And that's where I think I have said that those bank accounts that we have, whatever you want to call them, new abundance that we're getting, they're already right there in play, that there's a ghost account that's already there for us, and it's just going to flip them within seconds. All you're seeing now is an old ghost mirage, and then when they flip it, it's going to be a different deal. So I already think we're in it.
Wow. And I had somebody in my network remote view the Starlink satellites, and what they basically said was that they don't exist. Mm-hmm. So those Tesla phones are essentially are using quantum entanglement. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about that, Jenny? Do you think they're?
I think the phones, I think we are going to have phones. I think we are going to be futuristic phones. Do I know that it's those phones? I don't know, but I do feel that we're going to have that in our hands. But I do feel that everything in technology has an alien process in it now. So we're allowing that to come in, to seep into our world and use the advancements of them. And I don't think it's one complete person that's in control of everything anymore at all. Like I said, I believe that there's a council that's involved now. That's a higher council.
Okay. So let's go back to the QFS. So this is just something I pulled up here. But the QFS is a financial system which some believe could rival SWIFT. So basically, it helps eliminate corruption, usury, manipulation within the banking system. So they utilize a very advanced artificial intelligence quantum computer. So these quantum computers have the capability of tapping into other alternate realities through the I guess it was the string theory. So once you access that kind of quantum level of components, you can tune into other parallel realities, and so it's able to tune into what infinite possibilities. So we have some say that the non-compliant ISO 2022 cryptocurrencies. The compliant ones. Yeah, will play a role in the new system. Sorry about that. And so do you know anything about that, Jenny? The XRP, XLM?
I don't follow the XRP, and I Spirit has always just told me gold and silver. That's the guarantee. And then, of course, they've always told me a blue stone that's over in the ice that's going to be worth value. I think I've told you about that too. So the Bitcoin, the XRP stuff, every time people ask that, I don't put a lot of strength behind it because it's something that'll phase out, they're saying. So they're showing me the gold and the silver and then other solids that man does not know of yet that are more important, that are going to come in. So what I see with XRP, you're going to get it to a certain point, and then it's not going to go up the way people think it's going to go up.
All right, guys, no 50,000 XRP for you, but I had another psychic, like 2 or 3 of them, predict that Bitcoin was going to 100 million. So I know some people say what BTC stands for, the real, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's just the whole question of where it came from and what's its intentions and purposes. There seems to be a whole nother aspect of AI that we are not really taking into consideration. So what? Okay, essentially, an AI from our future sent it back in time for us to help basically destroy the Federal Reserve System. So
Right.
it was.
Well,
Okay, hold on, Jenny, hold on. It was Kusaouch. So he said a positive AI. Well, it was an AI from a timeline that had nuclear war, and it realized it made a mistake. It should have helped humanity, so it sent it Bitcoin back in time to try to reset things and help humanity. Because what happened, according to Kusal, uh, Trump got. Oh, oops. Oh, I gotta be careful what I say. But yeah, another term. So
Shepherd.
he
You
did
call
he did
Shepherd.
he did get it, and then he opposed AI became self-aware around 2026, and so at that point, Trump was president for life of the world, according to this prediction. Looking into the timelines and opposed the ascension of AI and the whole nuclear war thing was started by the AI. So, but that according, yeah. So, I know Jenny, you have your opinions on things. So, what's your thoughts about all
Well,
that?
first of all, who that is, and you know that I have run up against him, so I don't believe he's legit on anything because I think he's been taken over, you know, bought off. So, and there's a lot of them that are just bought off to a certain point that they're not in control of what they're doing. They're just pushing products. So I believe he's a product pusher. So I've never felt anything about his information. And another thing is the fact that they're showing me that the Bitcoin, how I look at it, is there's just no strength behind it. It's one of these things that it's a strong phase at one point, and then it's just going to go, it's going to dissolve. There's a lot of things that in this new system that they're going to try to push into it, and it's not going to take. That's the whole thing about it. You're going to get it to a certain peak, but I just feel Bitcoin's going to dizzle to
Okay,
the
all right.
the
Okay, so official prediction: do not get XRP any, but XRP Bitcoin. So, all right, but how about the RV, the revaluation of these various current currencies? I mean, we have the Iraqi dinar, which is allegedly backed by $100 trillion worth of oil reserves below the country of Iraq, and but so we're
that
looking.
is strong.
What's that?
That one is strong. So that dinar, they showed me because I look at things as when you say words, how strong and the strength they are. So the dinar feels like it's going to go pretty well and a strong point for a while. But I just feel that we're just starting at a starting phase and then it's going to change. We're going to go into these changes in how we look at money. And we're just getting into levels of starting. And at the end, it's not going to be an existence that is important. It is now, but the dinar, they show me on a graph point that it's strong. And it's going to stay strong for a while.
Yeah, so we're predictions around $5 a dinar. So essentially, 100,000 dinar note is like $20 or something like that. So people,
I
yeah,
feel like going up, they're saying it goes up to an extreme high on there. So it does feel like it's going to go pretty high.
right. So yeah, so theoretically, your $20 could get you 500,000 when it revalues. But to get access to that money, you have to have a prosperity project because the Bush family apparently bought 98% of those dinars. They hold it, and they were holding that to refinance the New World Order for the next 100 years. So, but is my belief Bush Jr. is in a place that's spelled GITMO.
Yep.
So,
So I think we have the money.
yeah, so they're not going to get that refinanced,
No.
but to get that funding, you have to go. What I believe you have to go through the Dragon family, and because those assets are in these collateral accounts that are managed by the Dragon family. So, what's your thoughts on that, Jenny?
I think to a certain degree, but I feel like that is the process that they've worked with and changed around. Like the whole Kim Gogan thing, I think it's all bullshit. Because I've asked Spirit about that whole situation. So I believe there are high understanding about that certain family, but it has to do with your intentions. Again, that has to do with the quantum system. So I think that's going to work coincide on the intentions if it helps humanity. So that's the whole thing. You know, you got that old way of the 3D. You think there's a con around things. There's not going to be an access around that anymore. So they're going to try. You're going to have certain people that are going to still try to find a way to con. It's not going to work. That's the whole thing. So on the Dinar, on the Dragon family, it's all on fairness. No one can screw up this quantum system. No one's going to get ahead of the game. It's no human has the conscience to. Honestly, we know that. So I believe it's all in the intentions of the goodness for humanity. So you're not going, and you've seen these people for humanity projects, they think it's a free ride of free money. It's not the way it's going to work. You got to do the work. You got to put in the effort. You got to put the money where it needs to go.
That's why we need the QFS to track all that. So if anybody's involved in nefarious activities, those funds are going to be retracted from your account. So, but I feel like most of the people that are watching this show are probably good people, and they would probably use the funds appropriately. So you have to have a humanitarian project. So the numbers are, let's see here. Some say you keep maybe 20% of the funds for yourself. But typically I would say somewhere around 80% of the funds have to be spent on helping other people in the world, helping the world. So,
so, and that's the thing that's why I say it's important after we get funded and people are already worried about the funding. The next day after that's over, you better be focusing on what you're supposed to be doing. I already think the quantum system knows what you're supposed to be doing. I already know it has a higher intelligence to know what individual, like your DNA and everything that you are, that what you're going to be involved in. That's when we go to these banking systems, and you're going to have a kind of a futuristic conversation and make those decisions, without thinking. This is the problem humanity has to get out of, is the banks are out to scam. So you're going to be guarded for a long time with people thinking everything's a scam because that bank name is so tarnished. And that's why they have to get them out of the way, because there's never going to be in complete trust with them on anything. Because our world's government, everybody's standing still guarded now because they know we have been screwed over 100%. And now we're not going to trust anything. And you have to look at everything in a very scrutiny eye of analyzing everything that they're doing now. We left our guard down way too much, and we trusted them. That's the problem. This is how this was created.
And we were having a discussion last night about the new censorship policies of the boo tube thing. They recently I got notified that they're going to shadow ban me. They actually officially admitted it, unless they did a biometric scan of my face. So what YouTube is doing is they want your biometrics so they can make a facsimile of you in virtual reality, so they can kind of pick your brain and understand your thinking processes. So certainly the QFS would have that aspect to make you a virtual reality avatar of yourself, and to understand more who you are and your intentions. So I know that this might seem kind of far-fetched, but
I think it is to a certain point. If you have a category of people that follow a certain line to that, it's easy. But when you're working with your own conscience and making decisions, they can change in seconds. So I don't believe it's predictable. On certain conscience, higher conscience is not predictable. Because the lower ones, yes, because they know their routine. They know how they're going to fall. They know what their weakness is. They know what their strength is. They're going to follow that. They're going to see that. But I'm talking about the ones with a higher conscience that go by a different termination in their mindset. That could change quickly, fast. So I think that's going to be a hard situation to predict.
Oh wow. Okay, let's go. YOLO Xylophone made a great comment here. Free money and talent being taken from those who do the work. Such a horrid energy. So let's discuss this. This funding. Um, Obviously, it seems like it would be hyperinflationary, but on the other hand, in figuratively speaking, technologies will be released which will eliminate the need of a lot of types of jobs. So, is it really, really destroying society, having a universal basic income? So, what's
I
your
don't
thought?
think so because they're going to have certain standards for certain ages. The lower age is going to have to work to a certain percentage. The elder age should not be working when they're not. They should be taken care of. That's the thing. That's the first thing that society.
Hold on, Jenny. Wait a minute. We're not going to have older ages. We're going to have med beds. Well, I guess if you wanted to be old, you could.
First,
You can stay old if you want.
yeah, you got to think the elders, the ones that are in their 70s and 80s. I want you to think what they've been through for this world, and they're tired and they're exhausted. So whether they've gotten to a point of healing, but they need a time of rest and to regroup and get, they say, their body back in order. And then they can make these clear decisions. But I feel an exhaustion from that age group that is just, we've had it hard. We've had a hard life to our age. And now they need a regrouping, I'd say, level. So when they come out of it, that's a different deal. But they need to regroup and rejuvenate.
Absolutely. More funds for the boomers. Certainly yeah. And also the medical healing technologies are going to come out. So we'll also have, it'll be similar to calling the cable repair guy. So, hey, people who actually have cable, but to repair your body, you can there's technologies where you can just go to a vending machine. I knew somebody in my network that worked at UCLA, and they were discussing this vending machine technology. It scans you and projects an energy field, and it can heal you for just put a $20 payment in your credit card or debit card in the machine. So, but all that technology, was opposed because it upsets the system too much. But,
right. So I honestly believe with those med beds that the government is the only one that has control over their high security until we get to a certain point. And I've seen all these people, and this is what I'm seeing. You're seeing people kind of try to ditto what the government has. And the thing with the government, they mark everything of their property. People don't have the clearance to get access to them yet. And that's the thing. And they don't have the background clearance to get access. And you know how that works. So these people that out of nowhere, that have no military training, don't know anything, all of a sudden they have this clearance. I do not believe that. I believe that they are going to be guarded when they are presenting them in each area that needs to be precise. And then when they have people that have to be trained to the T, not someone that just has created it and then won't show it. I mean, they're not going to give access to that until they're safe across the board. But that's a thing that you're seeing in this world on the internet. They're charging people that they don't even have access to. They're charging people. These people are just cons, because I believe that you can set up that appointment through the new system that's going to give you that access and where to be, and not to give any of that information out. And I told everybody, do not give all your personal information out to anybody, because when you have that type of money, people are at first going to think they're going to be a way that we can con it out of you. Well, let me tell you, the negative is not getting the money, anything. So they are going to be out there trying to do what they can. They're not going to have a money system. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
I try to not do that, but it does happen occasionally. But anyway, guys, okay, so when you go into the bank and you talk to the banker, so they're going to either approve or, not approve, but I would say most of these projects are going to get approved. Supposedly there's going to be somebody behind that window that's an ET, a Nordic, or somebody like that, a Palladian, reading the energy of that. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Jenny, have you heard that?
Yes, and I believe it.
Okay. So yeah, they're gonna read you. So try to be be honest, please. And yeah, so let's see here. Now, once you have this extra funds, your family members might start questioning where all suddenly you got all this money. So it's probably a good idea to let them know before you go under the gag order that you're gonna get some money come in, and so that way you won't be breaking your gag order. But yeah, just try to be discreet about it.
NDA.
Don't flaunt your wealth until eventually. I think like there's a 6-month waiting period once you do the redemptions where it's basically opened up to the public for everybody. So I guess at that point you can just say whatever you want to, but just follow the directions of your NDA and your banker, because you'll be given your own private banker account and under the QFS. So
right, and I believe that society, this is where the guidelines come in, the guidelines that they're going to have to put out to the public, what they can spend, what they can't spend, because people with enormous money, especially when people are not used to having money, they're going to go nuts. Okay. So that's why I'm waiting right now for the guidelines with the new financial system to come in, what you can do, what you can't do, how you can spend and how you can't, because you have to be fair across the board to have humanity, make sure everybody has what they want, but not overly indulging until things have changed for our stores, and all that has to change out too, and the quantity of food and all that stuff. And the products that we buy are going to change too. How we're going to be entertained is completely going to be changed. So it's all going to change. And there has to be guidelines for people that are not used to having money, and that's the thing about it. So there has to be guidelines of what they can do, what they can't do. And I believe that's going to come from the government too. They're going to put that out. And then when you go to the bank, they're going to have that too.
Certainly. So the funds will be in its own skeleton trust. And then, you'll be given, I believe they're just going to do like a trickle cash flow. So let's say your $100 trillion ZIM notes will be redeemed on par 1-to-1, perhaps, maybe. And then, so you'll have, 100 trillion tranche. You would be expected to get a tiny trickle of that funds to see how you do. And then eventually they'll release more and more to you as you figure out a way. You'll have so much money you wouldn't be able to spend it an entire lifetime. But I guess with med beds, maybe you could. But
my attitude towards it, and this is what I'm really serious about this, I would take all that money if I could and change it in for energy, because I know the energy is more valuable than the money, because we're just in this world thinking that is the value. On the other side, it's energy, our conscience, our higher conscience. If I could do that instantly, I would trade it all in.
So what are you going to do? Like put a bunch of people to work to create?
No, not, and I mean in energy, as in the knowledge of the energy, the what we sustain over on the other side, that we don't need anything. That's the thing, that humanity doesn't know that yet. Everything that we need for our body, our vessel, everything is in a direction that sustains through our energy. And that's like, if I could have that futuristic and put it in me now and then push the money aside, I would, because you already would have access to everything that you need.
Certainly. So the ZIM notes are going to be treated like a loan amortized by over 20, 30 years. Thank you, Jen, for that. Okay, so we talked about the ZIM notes. So supposedly that's backed by the assets underneath Zimbabwe. And those were the original 2009 series with the big rocks on them with the hyperinflationary currency. So those notes are going to be treated as bonds by the Chinese dragon families, where inside the collateral account assets, where these assets remain. So you will need to have a prosperity program project to get access to those funds. So make
Right.
sure everybody has their projects ready. By the way, just try to keep it under 3 pages. So, I mean, mine is like 20 pages long, but that's because I've got like 20 different projects. It wasn't good enough for me to just do one. I've got 20 great ideas. So,
But you know, I think they already know that. See, I don't even think you have to put those in. I believe to a certain point for the humanity projects, they already know when you go to the quantum system, they're like, we already know.
well,
We already know what
how are they going to know? So, like that whole thing
that's
about creating an
higher
avatar.
conscience. That's what I'm saying. This higher conscience already knows you for who you are, what you've done in this life, what you've created. That's what I'm saying. It already is going to know you. So that's already going to be tied into that. So when I was hearing about this, Spirit goes, don't you think we already know? Don't you think that that system already knows what you're supposed to be doing after this? That's the whole thing. We have to think beyond this world of how the high technology is. It's beyond.
I remember years ago, Andrew Basaggio, who was part of Project Pegasus, and he would travel into the future with his father, who worked for Rumsfeld at DoD. But he said that around 2023, the public was made aware that the time travel technology exists. And then by 2024, Stargate portal tech starts to become as common. By 2030, it'll be as common as the escalator. So we're going to get rid of the highway system. I mean, I guess you could probably still have a highway, but it's so much easier and quicker to just take a portal to go to another portal. So but it's also corresponding to a new technology called the chronovisor. So the chronovisor will be put into libraries where you could go there and watch the American Continental Army or the Independence Hall address. So they won't be able to hide history anymore. And you could also look into the future. So I would say they probably would have used a chronovisor type technology to see what type of projects you're going to be up to. Mm-hmm. But what do you think about that, Jenny?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It boggles the mind to see the advancements. Like they know, like they've said, we know everything. And I hear that all the time. We know everything. We know everything about you. We already know what your soul is going to want to serve. You're just going to have that conversation with these new systems and see how that happens. That's the whole thing. We're still in that thinking that it's just an AI program. Well, even for the AI program, it's just beyond that. It's beyond that, So, and then it has this spiritual energy within it. What's in that conscience? That's the whole thing, because there's complete fairness with that. Because when they showed me 3.5 years ago, they showed me this higher system with light in it and a person walking up to that and watching. And it says that person was saying exactly what they wanted in their exact intention. Well, the next person who walked up to it was trying to lie to it. What did it do? It shut down. It doesn't even respond to you. It just shuts you down. That could shut down everything completely in their life. So I believe, being able to get away with things is not going to be the future whatsoever. It's going to be impossible. Impossible. So if someone has a gun towards a person in front of the system, guess what? It's going to shut down. There's just no way. You're going to see this advancement coming from this conscience that is just 7 to 10 steps ahead of everything. It's all connected to everything. All the eyes of seeing, all the eyes of sensing your body frequency and what you're lying about and everything. It's just going to be there spontaneously within seconds.
Is that because we're going into like the fifth dimension?
Oh, I think we're in the process of that. So
by 2035, our planet be
sooner than that.
By Oksana said by 2028, the elemental fairy realms will start to reveal themselves to the public. I think it's because our frequency is rising to kind of match theirs. So it'll become more and more visual to us. We'll be able to, So what do you think about that?
So what I think is what's created around the ice wall is going to come towards this direction. And that technology that's always been there on the other worlds is going to be advanced. So So when we get to mingle with that, we get to learn from that. Even our education system, there, for our children are going to be massively advanced. Everything's changing. So we're used to a slow process here, and it's not going to be a slow process.
Exactly. It's going to be considered like maybe a form of magic. It's going to be so.
Yes, that's what words you can use.
Magical, yeah. So to everything change so quickly, but it's also going to take a long time to change the consciousness of the public. Because I've talked to people in my network, the Christian fundamentalist community have they're going to take the longest to finally accept that aliens are real, and they're right here.
Oh, I know, right?
So I know you're a Christian seer, but I guess
well, I mean that's Fred. I'm more of a spiritual, and the Christian side part of it is the process, but I'm not that way in a way. I'm just more a spiritual being, because that the religion, the dogman, is coming down to the ground.
Dogman?
Well, as in the whole Christian process, their biblical beliefs and everything, it's coming to a very quick end, because I think every religion is involved in what we've seen lately.
So imagine you have a child, and the child is getting older and they need new shoes. So it will be a transition like that. You just get new shoes and we'll all be moving on, advancing to something new. So I think we're all going to be able to adapt eventually. Once the med bed technology comes out, it will change the definition of what it means to be human, because now we don't have to, because I know we're told death and taxes are a guaranteed thing, but well, maybe we don't need that anymore. So let's see.
I think that's going to be gone too.
What's that?
I think taxes are going to be gone too.
Right. So the original NESARA law dictates that we're going to have hold on guys, was it like 17 or it was like 12% national sales tax, and then somebody changed the numbers. Oh, it's actually 17. But so they're going to get rid of the IRS and take those people, put them in the U.S. Treasury sales tax division. So they're going to tax non-essential items only. So they won't tax your food. They won't tax a new home, or I guess clothing would be essential. So, but if you wanted to buy a boat, they'll probably have taxes.
Yeah, anything new.
But or that Rolex. But so the question is, there's going to be so much funds released, it almost as if like it just creates a whole change in everybody's perceptions to the point we switch from scarcity to abundance for everybody. Right. So how is that going to be able to materialize? Are we going to see hyperinflation where people just give up working, or do you think that whole economy will keep going and we can get rid of taxes?
No, I think it will, because advancement. So the thing is, when you take an energy upon Earth and the people are not stressing over money, they're not stressing over where they're living, they're not stressing over where their food is coming from, that creates an energy upon Earth that settles down, transforms into a light energy. What happens when everybody has everything they want? They want to give, they want to share, they want to be enlightened. They're not in the worry, they're not in the fear, they're not in that process. So then there's this exchange on this energy of this planet that is of the light, and it's consistent, because that's the whole thing. When you have everything that you need, you want to make sure someone else, if you're giving abundance to, or taking care of them, or helping them, that energy alone is going to change. When that money comes in and everybody gets funded, James, that is going to be the biggest energy that changes at that moment. When that reality comes in, and that fear is going to melt. And it will bring you to your knees of abundance. That's like, okay, I've got everything that I need. So this person and that person is going to be like, how can I help others? Now I have what I need to take care of. That's what it's going to start. Working in communities, helping local people, the elders, the children. That's the whole thing, because they always controlled us with our time, occupied it with doing something that was repeated that we were never going to get ahead of. And now we're in a situation like, here's the abundance. Now, how are you going to value your time? How are you going to give it to humanity? And this is what I always say to the Christians. And when they throw the Bible belt and they do all that stuff, I go, this shuts them down every time. I just say, what have you done for humanity lately? And I go, going to church does not count. They have no reply for that because that's the program. So it's literally giving. It's a part of not ignoring bums, helping them, leading them, mental health in a different way. It's literally seeing the unseen now that you ignored in this reality and giving back to them and helping them. That's what the spiritual community is about, sharing. It's about taking care of one another. You know, drugs and alcohol and all that stuff is going to go aside too. So that's the whole thing. How do you look at that? How do you help that? How do you get that to a great balance for humanity?
Okay. Hey, Jenny. So what I'm gonna do is read this definition of socialism. So I know some people say, well, this is actually socialism. They're giving you money. So let's see what it says here. Okay, it's a political and economic theory of a social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole. So when these funds are released to you, we are doing the opposite of that, because basically let's discuss something called the CAFR, and the CFS, the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, and on the federal level, the Comprehensive Financial Statement. So essentially, money that is being taken in through taxes is not being put into the general budget. It's placed in these rainy day accounts, which earn interest about roughly 11% per year. These investments they can make, and they don't have to pay taxes. So what's happened is, since this was been implemented, these systems began in the early. Hold on, guys. 70 was it GOFA, the Government Officers Financial Association. When that was set up, it was like in the early 70s. So they started doing these accounts, and so now what you would see if you look at something called a gross domestic national product, you might see like, oh, the United States has 30 trillion. But what you don't see is that that is the public sector, but the government sector that owns 90% of the economy through these different slush funds, essentially the GDP is a lot higher. So a lot of this GDP is being sent off world, so you don't even get to see access to that. So it is not a form of socialism or communism. We actually have that right now, because 80 to 90% of what you see, those institutional investors, those are those slush funds. And yes, we can discuss, well, maybe the banks. Does BlackRock own it? Does the banks own it? And we know that the United States empire is a corporation, so something owns that. So it's not we the people anymore. But yeah, so that's what's going to be happening, is a return of what was taken from you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just think of it that way.
And your ancestors, and this is what I do believe that Spirit said. He goes, you're going to get what your ancestors didn't get. I believe it goes all the way back to complete DNA bloodlines of those ancestors on, and so it's going to get to a point that money's not going to mean anything.
And certainly we have something called a pension fund, right? So that's to help retirees who've put in their service for whatever corporation or the government. So how about we just set up a tax retirement fund where some of these funds can be placed into an account that earn investments, and now we don't even need to pay any taxes. And the whole system is sorry for this glass thing. But so the system is let's look at it this way. $100 million per year is spent on attorneys, accountants to file that income tax. So that's a lot of money being wasted, and a lot of time, a lot of stress. Let's just get rid of that. We put up a tax retirement fund. Yeah. So, but we're all going to find out pretty soon. I think all this stuff is already laid out by our white hats. Yeah.
Well, I think the doctrine, lawyer degree and all that's going to be done, because that whole society of where that came from is already dismantled in the UK. So they're all going to school, and they're going to realize that whole program doesn't exist anymore. we're going to go into vast, different technology. This is what I'm telling you. Like, you have to understand energy to be around the healing pods or the healing beds. It's not a doctrine that's going to know about it. They're denying it. So what I'm saying is it's what you've learned since you were a young child that drew you to a certain area. That is what matters, that you followed that path. That's going to tell you now you were born to follow the path to where you are now, to decide how you give back to humanity. So you're going to have a lot of pissed doctors. You're going to have a lot of pissed pharmacists, because that's going away. Educators, bye. Because that's an old system that was a programmed system. You bought into it. That's going to be dismantled.
Certainly. And we know about the Title of Nobility Amendment, the 13th Amendment, which basically was passed by Congress in 1810. And then it was ratified by all the necessary states by 1817. But the War of 1812, where the British forces invaded Washington, D.C., burned down the Library of Congress and the National Archives, also the White House, helped eliminate the traces of all that. So by the 1870s, it was deleted from the law textbook. So titles of nobility amendment, why is it important? Well, anybody who holds titles of nobility
feeds the ego.
What's that?
It feeds the ego.
Ego.
Yeah.
Certainly. Well, we had back then, right after the Revolutionary War, British forces were abducting, kidnapping American sailors and forcing them into their own army. So their navy, rather. So we needed our own navy to defend us. But the colonies were absolutely bankrupt from that war. I mean, the Continental Army didn't even have shoes, guys. We should have. So, and the reason we had help, certainly we can talk about the help that they got, but ultimately it was put into law so that way, because titles, attorney has, the Bar Association is the British Accredited Registry. It's registered in the Temple Bar, which is located in the city of London, the 2 square mile, 10 square mile, whatever it is, actual area inside the city of London, which is its own country. And it's subject to the Vatican. And we could talk about, the Vatican, well, maybe the Anunnaki, whatever. But the point is, doctor, attorney, lawyer, clergyman, all these titles of nobility, you cannot run for public office. Right. Okay, so all that's going to have to go away, and we're going to have attorneys are going to need to be retrained in common law. Same thing. Doctors are going to be trained in med beds and so on. Okay, Jenny, I hate talking over you. Why don't you just fill in?
No, I agree with what you're saying, because I do. They're saying it's all going to be gone. That program society, Harvard, everything else they've done, it was a program. And now that's going to be dismantled. That education program is going to be dismantled. The lawyers of how they do things and how it's blood sucking, about the blood, and they don't really care about the fairness across the board on this situation. It's about them being rich. It's about the doctors being rich now. It's about being bought off and paid for. That's going away. They have to reprogram and get into their head. Listen, you're not going to make money off this. If you said you've really done this for society and you chose to do this to help someone, because at some point, they say why they've gotten into lawyer school. That's why they've gotten into doctrines, because there was something that told them that they needed to do it. Well, that program had changed that all to money. And now they need to get back to the basis of what it's for. And if you can't, we don't need you.
Well, thank you. Let's go pull up some questions here. Ask Jenny about Zim bombs and Vietnamese dong. What would you have to say about that?
I haven't really done any research on that. I'm just going to tell you, I haven't really paid attention to that. So I'm just going to tell you, I'm not giving advice when I don't feel. I would say a balance that I'm looking at is in a 50-50 situation. It could go like this. They're just showing me up and down. They're not going, it's not going to go all the way down, but it's going up, down, up, down. They're showing me. So no one's asked me about those.
I was just curious about the Vietnamese dong. Chat, Does anybody know what the dong is supposed to be backing up by? Where those? I guess maybe that's the Dragon family money there, but so yeah, certainly the dong. What is it? What, $200? You could get 3 million dong, and I think that the
Yeah.
ratio of that was like
When you present that energy, it just shows it's not showing, because they show me on graphs on stuff like that, and the graphs are not going up. The graphs are going to, like, it's going to be a railroad going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on it. So I don't think it's ever going to get to the point that they think it's going to get to, but it's going to stay at a steady for a while.
Okay. Alid said 14 to 15. That was probably the NESARA transition sales tax ratio. Thank you. Thomas is saying it'll be we can't say that word here, but you want to? Could you comment about what's going to be happening in November without saying the word, in your opinion?
Oh, I can tell you, it's not happening. So that's a persona that there's no energy behind it, and it was never going to happen. It's like a dead end door that you can even feel the energy that's not even pushed behind that. It's all plays out to a certain potential, but it's just going to die overnight, because that type of world is not going to exist. One person in control of anything anymore, we're never going to trust it again.
Certainly.
We're going backwards to go there.
Like a council type government.
A complete council and a higher intelligent council. So I expect, this is what I do, that you look for, as you saw the Republicans, that expect to see higher beings behind them, kind of aiding them, as you call them, their handlers. Well, these are different handlers that are going to show them the new process and the new council and how we need to do things, and more of a higher intelligent beings, not running off the ego, not running after the old system. They're going to have to be educated and groomed, and in a very fairness way.
So what I think is going to happen is it will go into the news cycle who was actually running the country, and for the last 4 years, and it would be deemed so messed up that it's going to take about 4 years to 2028 to get us all back on track.
So that name and that title will change to the ambassador. So all countries have respectively chosen him as the ambassador. So that name, president, will be gone.
Thank you. Okay. Hopefully the YouTube censors will be happy with that response. When are the funds going to be released? Blue Mariner. People have been waiting since 1980 to get their funds. Yeah, that was going back way back with the early farm claims program. What do you say, Jenny?
So, like I said, I'm telling you that I think we're already there. I already feel that we have a ghost account that's just waiting to be flipped. And it's not a process that it's like, oh, this is going to take forever. It's not. When it hits, it's going to be like a flood. Everything else is going to open up. Everything's going to open up. So I already believe that's there. All I feel I'm waiting for this to happen is the guidelines. I don't care what anybody says, Spirit's saying it's the guidelines, because you have to tell people how they can spend money, what they can do, what they can access, what they can't. You don't just give it to them and give no rules or no ethics out there, or you're going to have chaos in a different way. They're going to go nuts. Because when you starve them so much and then you give them something, what happens? They react in a different way. Balance has to be. So I believe the government, the military is going to come out with these guidelines. So once you start, and I keep telling people, start looking for those guidelines. They've already done it for the banks, the guidelines that they have to go by. Now they have to go by, the public has to have their own guidelines and how they can spend and not go crazy. It has to come. That's what I'm waiting on.
Well, thank you. Certainly. Okay, let's go to this one here. Oh, I got one more comment about that. So yeah, Oksana Buchanan has been on the show before. She says that she sees people moving past summer, getting access to more funds. So it's like it just sees us with more money. So
Well,
we've
it's
had
in levels. I think it's in levels. Here, you're going to get the abundance to this point. Then you're going to get the abundance. I feel that the first people they're going to get it are Social Security people, the people on disability. They need to give them the money that they need, okay, to a certain balance that they can survive on and have everything that they need. I think they're the first ones. We have to take care of the ones that are, it's impossible for them to barely make it, okay? So I'm telling you that they're first. You're going to see that first, the veterans, the disability people, all that stuff, okay? I don't believe there's any guidelines for how you get it. It just has to be at a certain age and then just proven from a certain society that you are disabled. That's the whole thing, you know, because you know that they've held back on these people. Are so many people are disabled and they are not giving them that title because they don't want to pay them. That's going to be a different deal. The floodgates are going to change on that too. So I believe that they are the first people. And the elders deserve it. They've been waiting the longest.
Well, what do you think is actually going to push the hand to make this happen? I've had like 3 or 4 people in my network. I believe Elena Denon is actually one of them who said this too as well, that might see some type of ET first contact thing. Kusal is predicting April 16th this year. I believe Elena was predicting more like this summer. So are you predicting?
Well, I know, but she's all into Anki, who's a phony god. But the thing is, I already believe it's here. It's not. It's just because you in the 3D, they think they have it in their face. It's already here. It's already implemented. It's already involved in your life. It's already above you. It's already seeing everything where you're going. It's all eye seeing, feeling. It's already here. It's been here for a while. So that's the thing. It's already here. How are you seeing it? What you need to pay attention on, as I said, your government, how the counselor comes in, swaps out what you know is normal, the size of them, how they look, how intelligent, how programs come in overnight and how fast they come in. That's what I'm telling you. It's beyond the human conscience. So it's here already. It's been here. I believe that everything that's been taken down has already had a placement for it. It's a chess game. Something that goes down, something is created completely. They've already designed this like a big chessboard game. Education, I believe, is going to start to go down in April. And when they start to bring that in, they're going to push those educators back. They're going to tell them we no longer need you. We're not going to be part of this program. And the ones that are complying to the new program, they'll be fine with. But they are not going to be educating them. It's going to be a vast system of conscience with those kids. They're going to be way ahead of the game. It's already here.
Oh, so what's going to happen? The education system, these teachers are going to quit? Is that what?
No, they're going to be asked to leave because I believe the new program that's coming in has nothing to do with a human being teaching and educating. I'm just telling you because I saw something in the future. I think I haven't talked to you about on the show. They're called the blue children. I saw this blueness with their skin and everything else, and you can see the energy go through their system and everything. So the blue coil children is what I call them, and that how they're being educated, and they're not going to be educated by their parents. They're going to be educated by the system. Not that their parents are going to be around, but what I'm saying is it's advanced. They are going to target exactly how that child is and how that child learns and how it adapts to things, not throwing it in just one category or another. We're going into massive futuristic systems in a fast way.
Wow. Okay. Thank you. Let's see here. Let's go through the questions. Someone's asking about Canadian pensions. You want to comment about? I guess that would be NESARA, the Global Economic Security and Reformation Act.
I think it's going to be the same. I believe that the regions are Mexico, United States, and Canada, and the UK. I believe that we're all separating into 4 regions. So I believe Canada is going to be part of the United States.
Okay, so we have Daryl James. What he said that his CEO looked down the timeline and looked in the future, and he saw the United States will go down into Mexico and secure the border in a place called Coatzacoalcos. So like where the bottleneck is. So the border of the United States is going all the way down there. And then Canada, mostly, with the exception of Alaska, is going back to Russia. So, yeah. But let's see here. I guess that pretty much answers that question. All right, let's go on here. But yeah, if we can get rid of the IRS, the income tax here in the United States, other countries will also have to do the same because businesses will leave their country and come here. So they'll all have to innovate themselves and to compete.
Right. So, exactly. I believe, and this is going to tell you, and I've said it in my groups, see the deck clock, and there were 4 angels on 4 points of the world. Those are 4 regions, and each vessel that is here as an ambassador is working with a energy. 4 regions. Russia is one. United States is one.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Daryl said that there'll be 5 superpowers in the future, and it'll be based on the assets of your country. So, the United States is going to be number 5. It's going to be downgraded, but you'll still be number 5. I mean, come on, be pretty good. So, Russia is going to be number 1 because they have the most assets, and then China, assets and people. So, I don't know what the other 2 are. Probably Europe, or I don't know, maybe Zimbabwe. Who knows? There's so much gold there. But
yeah, they've always showed me 4.
4, okay. Do you know? So do you know all the 4 ones? So Russia, China,
United States, and then European area.
EU, okay.
And China.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's see here. I feel like we could probably change the topic a little bit, maybe get away from money. So what should we discuss? What's some other predictions that you've come up with?
Maybe. Well, we can talk about what's over the ice. Let's talk about what's over the ice. I talked about that.
Can you explain what the ice wall is for people out there like thinking that this is a flat Earth kind of thing?
What I've talked about is the waters above, the waters below. So those waters are different. They're not the same type of waters. Each water works different underneath. But they always showed me, they said that the blue, you can't touch it, but there's this blueness from it, and that stone is worth a lot if you get a hold of that stone. But what's it is, I believe that holds the matrix is in that water. And I believe that they're diving down right now to dismantle that phase. And I believe the walls are up around us to keep us out of there. And if you wanted to keep people away from that area, if they got into and access that area, it wouldn't be a good thing. So I believe something's coming up. I would call it the lower oceans underneath the ice walls that are going to surface. They always said everything's going to surface. So the technology, the ships that are self-sustaining are going to come from that ice wall area. I believe that there's just completely another world on that side, and that it's all higher technology. I believe that that's been there for a long time. I believe Russia has been over there a while doing a bunch of stuff. And I believe giants, and they showed me 4 years ago how giants were carrying these devices, and then I believe that they are higher understanding, giants are, and what they do. But they show me they've been moving it around our world for a while to make sure man never got a hold of it. So there's a lot of higher technology that's been advanced over there for a long time. So you see where the ice wall is for our world, and now the waters are running like they told me, and then everything would be melting, which is happening. And when those open, we're going to be open to other lands, and then all those higher worlds of conscience, higher tropic conscience we're going to be interacting with. It's going to be very easy for us to advance with these higher beings leading and showing the truth. That's the whole thing, is we've been lied to forever. And now you have to relearn the truth, relearn the history, because you can't trust your doctrines. You can't trust what they teach you in school. They can't trust the history books. You're going to have to see it and observe it for yourself. That's what's going to change. So everything relies walls around us, and now those are coming down, and that's where you need to be paying attention to what's going to surface out of those waters. What's going, and there, I think someone was telling me, they were saying that Antarctica is having a bird flu. Well, I've never seen birds fly around in Antarctica, but they don't want people to be poking around, and you're noticing people are going in that direction because they know, they have a sense and they know what's going on. I believe there's already cities in those areas that they're going to have to show. They're going to have to be honest about that. So extreme high technology, and I believe there's a potential of like a box that is connected to the matrix that has been in the ocean for a long time in the lower part of our world to keep that going.
Oh, well, let me pull this image up again. So let's get a clarification here. So this was, the world beyond the ice wall. And so we see other continents. Let's see if I can zoom in. But can you explain, so the planet is round, but when you're looking at this ice wall, see, it wouldn't let me zoom in. It's actually, you're going into inner Earth. So this is the inside,
right?
Hollow Earth.
Right.
Even though the map looks flat, it's all kind of curving around.
Right. So there's always an in and an out of this Earth plane and stuff like that. So if you had to, they tell me a root of a tree is into the center of this whole world. A tree is at the root of all of this. You know what I'm saying? So, and almost like the movie, was it Avatar? Where you see that tree, and that existence of that tree was the most important thing, the root of everything that grows. So they showed me a tree that was important. I got that from download. That's you have the flat, and then you have this oval going down. That's not a ball. It's it's more of a rougher mountain looking opposite of that, on the opposite end of a mountain. So it has a rougher terrain underneath. I mean, there's the Hurt book is probably one of the best books that describe all these walls. But the thing is there's levels of the inner Earth, like a Rubik's Cube, as they said. The things shift and move. The advancement of it is completely different from what we think we know.
Well, I know Peter the Insider from ACIO stated that the Earth isn't round, it's onion. There's multiple layers. I'm thinking maybe these are other dimensional layers.
Yes.
Like for instance, I mean, if you go inside the hollow Earth and you go to the bottom of that, then you would come out the other. I guess that would be the North Pole. So if you start in the Antarctica, you come. So maybe there's a whole nother dimensional realm even beyond all that you have to. Oh my gosh, it's kind of hard to.
It is. I mean, that's the whole thing. There's different dimensions in this world, and that's what they showed. I did a drawing where it shows it's going down below, and that's the problem. Is we've been told that it's round, and it's not. Even with energy, say the world is round. You can't even see it, but it's round, and all the energy goes in and out. But this has more of a deeper ground barrier underneath. It's rough. So then you have layers that go down. So that's the thing. This is something I didn't want to get. It's something that they showed me. I wasn't looking for it. I wasn't trying to get it. So
the Earth looks like an egg, kind of like
a flat on top, and then it's kind of choppy of layers beneath it. So that's the thing. So, and then energy is, I think we're in the center on the and then energy is above as the water's below and water's below. The one thing that they were saying, how do you know, this is what Spirit says, how do you know you're on the top or on the bottom? We don't know that. And that's why they show me it's more of a Rubik's Cube effect with this whole situation. Yeah. Can't hear you.
Oh, I pressed the wrong button. Sorry. When we're looking up, do we see these stars and the moon and maybe Mars occasionally, Venus. So yeah,
Stars are,
is that really there, or is that like?
No, it's a snow globe, as I call it, because everything's black and white. You know what I'm saying? And they're saying the space colors are completely just in rich colors. That's what I always say. I want to see the real space, because it's universal. You would see different things at different times all across our galaxy. You know what I'm saying? So they're only showing you that's part of the matrix. When that comes down, I'll be happy in that process. But yeah, I mean, it's not what it seems, because that's what we've been taught. That's what we've been told. It's not that way.
Can you explain what a firmament is? Supposedly,
what they has showed me is the waters above. Like, we're in from the ice walls up, and those ice walls that go all down, and you've seen those people have gotten down into the ice walls, and there's a lower water that bounces. It bounces back. You know what I'm saying? And there's waters beneath it. And so it just shows you it's all encasted, and how do we get past that? And that's what I'm saying is whatever's going on Antarctica right now, there's something going on to take that down. Because they're saying the waters below and the waters above. So I believe there's 2 layers of waters above us, and I believe that there's a couple layers beneath us. So it's not just one layer. That's what they're showing me.
Okay, but let's take Thomas for example. Thomas was in Nachtwaffen, and he says that he's seen Earth from orbit and it isn't flat. So get over in the discussion. So are you saying that the planet looks flat from orbit, or it does look like that egg-like thing?
It does look like the egg thing, but on top it's flat, but underneath it's sloped, but it's not curved. It's more of a mountain-looking structure underneath it. So it's not. There's a rough terrain looking.
I tell you what, Jenny, why don't you just draw us a picture of what you think the Earth looks like, and we will analyze it.
Okay, this is kind of the book, and this is just where it shows you the tree, and then you have these waters above and the waters below in the tree, and then I believe that we're kind of like this too, that we're underneath again, that everything's covered in waters of layers of waters. Okay, so if you're looking at it from space, what space are you looking for? Are you looking from, because you can't get out of the firmament. There's one way in and one way out. You can't get out of the firmament. We know that. Okay, so finally off of it, finally not connected to this Earth. Above that, do you actually think those stars are black and white? No, they're colors. They're bright colors. And that's the thing that needs to be crashing down. Can we really look and see the real space? So I'm telling you, it's rough edge underneath the bottom. So as you have the waters, you have these levels like Rubik's cubes of levels of these other worlds, the inner Earth.
So this firmament was meant to, I guess, protect us, not just from meteors, I guess from also being abducted by other alien races, but
everything was to contain us and keep her away from knowledge, information, and that's the whole thing about this, and this is the thing. They may not like the way I see things, but at the end, you're going to know the truth. That's the whole thing. Just like I did a drawing on, they were showing me a ruby lake in Antarctica too. And I went and found all that stuff, Ruby Mound, Ruby, all this stuff, and they were showing that too. So they were showing me parts of the cold and the hot in our Earth are making these crystal forms and stuff like that, and the inner Earth is having these crystal form stuff too. That's what I'm saying. We're going to have to relearn everything and see it for our own eyes and just push back of what you've been taught and say, I've got to see this for its original form.
Okay. Wow. So let's see here. We have, let's start with maybe the Hubble telescope, for example. So they have to get that thing up above the firmament. So I'm guessing there's holes up there somewhere they can get through, or a portal. So
there's different waters above. That's what I'm saying. There's if you ever heard the Bible, they talk about the biblical of there's waters above and waters below. So I believe that you're seeing waters above that. They have to go in and out. At some point that has to go. There's an area to get in and an area to get out. And I believe that's in Antarctica. You've seen these planets, how close they get to Antarctica, those areas. So I believe there's a way in and a way out.
Okay. Well, let's see here. We have, so I guess the ET, I wanted to see if I can, actually I wanted to share my screen, but hold on a second. Oh my gosh, it's coming. Okay, let's see here. Okay, never mind. I won't do this. I wanted to find a GoPro rocket launched into the sky, and you can see it goes up into the space where you're outside the atmosphere a little bit once you get above 30.
I was going to tell you too, the thing I got download on the Golden Ages. They're saying that it's not something that we're going to slowly go into. They're saying that we are basically going to be gunshot into the Golden Ages. It's going to be fast and advanced. So that firmament has to come down.
Okay, so let's play this. You can see right here, so it's going up higher and higher.
Right.
So I mean, there doesn't seem to be like a physical barrier. You could just go higher and higher.
Right.
See, Jenny?
To see how dark it is, I believe what they show me is like the stars are always in the same position and everything's not moving. You understand? And that the original space, this is what I got download, is different, completely different colors. Completely different. And how we're looking at the whole process.
Well, is this firmament maybe in another, like in a dimensional layer?
There's a layer above the firmament of the waters, and there's a higher waters above that. That's what they're showing me.
Huh.
So if you've done any research on the flat Earth and all that stuff, they've gotten to the bottom of this Earth, and it bounces off. There's waters that bounce off.
I didn't make you guys dizzy there, but yeah. All right, so oh my gosh, let's see here. How about this? I know Oksana's in here. She says physical Earth is round to a physical eye. So what it is and what we're seeing are two different things, Jenny?
Yes, because it's how if you're in a 3D process, like anything without dimensional, you can see it one way because your program is at a limited veil of understanding. But then your mind is open to seeing its original form, then you're going to see it expand and show its true self. But we've been programmed what it's supposed to be like. And that's the whole thing. The firmament has to come down to see its original form. So and I've downloaded this many times, and they keep going back to this. It has a top surface, and underneath it's more of a slope with levels. And they described it like a Rubik's Cube. There's levels that can shift.
Oh my gosh. Wow. How about the portals? So, I mean, that GoPro rocket launch seemed like it was getting into outer space, but
I think there's an inner area that you can go through Antarctica and go out.
So that rocket would eventually hit a wall essentially, an energetic barrier.
Yes, I believe they.
We saw it was going down eventually. So
Yeah. So I believe there's one way in and one way out.
interesting. Okay. Wow. Well, how about this one? Oh yeah. Matthews is asking about the solar flash. Before we get to that, hold your thoughts on that, Jenny. Let's go to this from Oksana. People who are still asleep but believe to be awake will always argue about what they see the Earth and other topics, but we all have different DNA, different experience based on our other lives, and decode them differently. So I guess
I don't think anything relies on our DNA, what we see. It has to do with our spiritual level of understanding, the veil of understanding. If we are going with our DNA, I mean, it just seems like that's something that the humans really think that is tell you the difference between special and not special. And I don't think it's that. It's our path that since we've been here, we've been enlightened by, we accept, we do our work, our veil of understanding changes by our conscience. Okay. So I believe when we leave this plane, we're not going to be taking your flesh and body. You're going to be getting a new crystallized vessel that goes with the spirit. You know, it's not the DNA.
Wow. Okay, so you're talking about the solar flash now.
The solar flash, I don't believe in.
No, 3 days of darkness.
No, I don't believe in the solar flash.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Jenny. It just doesn't seem like something that would happen. I don't know.
How they describe that to me is they said that there's going to be a fog, like a fog, which you've seen fogs, that are going to come to Earth, and it's going to come very close to Earth. And this is what they said: the negative will not be able to breathe within that fog, that it'll self-combust. So if you're of a negative process and you've been negative and you've dealt with any process of being negative, your soul is going to self-combust. And then the ones that are enlightened, that follow the path, have been enlightened by the light, are going to evolve. That's just as there's certain things the negative cannot be in an existence of. And I believe, like they've said, it's a fog that's going to come to Earth. It's not a solar flare. It's just a 3D process of fear that puts that out there. And that this, when it sits, it's coming in a very slow manner. And then you're just going to see people disappear. And they showed me that. The negative was self-combust.
That rapture.
Yeah. It is, but it's a battle of positive and negative, light and dark. It's all down to that. I don't care if you're a different type of alien or whatever. You're either going to serve humanity or you're not in this whole universe. It's one way or the other.
Okay, let's go to this one. Real Skywalker made a great comment. Are we going to? Well, I think that one. Okay, how about this one? It's from Sean. How can you entertain this? So what undermines every SSP whistleblower and ET experiencer. So how would you, Jenny, or what you're describing, is that actually a flat Earth theory, or is it something just different than even?
Well, it's even different from the flat Earth, because I don't believe in everything that they're saying. I'm going by what I channel, what I get information on, and how they present it. Okay, so they say the inner Earth is like a Rubik's cube, and these plates that we have on Earth and how the earthquakes move, everything is a plate. Something can shift, an island can be there, and then it can be gone. And you look at your oceans, look what's happening, how everything's moving in our planet now. It's shifting around. Things are being dismantled. There's water in places you've never seen water. Where is that coming from? I'm telling you, they're different, like they said, a Rubik's cube of plates that are changing. And when these plates change, is it going back to the way it was before? You know, because this is like, how can this happen? How can this be? I'm not getting my work from studying anything here on this plane. I'm getting from where I channel the information. I want the documentation to back it up later on. I want to see how it's going to play out. So everything that I do is not going to, I don't pick a category of this this side says this side says this, SSP says this, aliens category. I go by what I get, period. And I want it to see it come to light, because just like, just like the first thing that happened was those, the Red Ruby Lake they talked about. Then I went on Google and found those mounds and everything else that said that. So that's what I'm saying. I'm want to sit, watch it create, watch it exist, and see what happens.
Thank you. Let's see here. I hope this is going to work. Oh, is this it? That's your red.
Yes, that's a Red Ruby in Antarctica, and I did that 2 years ago. And then we went and we had people ask. Those are the ships. That's the Red Ruby Lake too.
Okay. Wow.
It was actually said that too. Those names, and this is what you call where they have all the ley lines and the pyramids all connected. And then you're talking about the middle would be the inner earth, the exit in and out. And that's one of the ships underneath that you would look.
Okay. Okay, well, we can go back and let's watch that other one. Let's get out of that one. Okay, let's quickly go through this. I figure maybe we can wrap it up soon. I got to get out the door. I got some things to take care of this afternoon, but let's see here. Let's just get a couple more questions in. Here's a good one from Miss Jeep. Thank you, Miss Jeep. Great question. I didn't even think to ask. Yeah. So where do you get your information from, Jenny? Are you connected? Oh, okay. What's that?
Creator. Not no alien. Not no that. I've always gotten my information from Creator, and that's how it comes down, and that's how it downloads, and that's how it verifies information and documentation. Not from a chip or anything like that.
Thank you. Okay. How about this? Don't say that word. We'll just talk about it. Without saying what they did. So, so as a planet is going up in this higher frequency dimension, that particular treatment locked them in to a lower frequency dimension with the, I can't even tell you what's in it, but without getting strikes. But so tell me, what happens? As I guess people who didn't do that, they're going to be going to a higher dimension, essentially, and they're.
Well, I think. So there's this thing that goes around. So I think with some of those devices that are implemented, certain kinds will limit you, because when you're allowing your spirit to take, when something else takes over that, it pushes that what's connected to Creator out, and you're going by a different device. So I believe all of that program of those need eventually to be dismantled, and something bigger of creation will come in and replace that again. I believe that was always to limit it, to contain it, to control it to a certain point.
Oh, wow. Yeah, certainly. There's so much more we could discuss about it, but let's pull that off just in case the AI can scan what we're discussing. But essentially, there's a timeline where the Greys came back in time from, this is a reality where they had nuclear war. They came back and provided this treatment to convert people into another species. So that's what I believe is going on.
Right.
So,
well,
anyway, go ahead.
To limit it, and not have it decide to take its own free choice, free will. It's all about disconnecting that energy that was from Creator. It's always something that wants to be the churches, everything wants to be in the middle of you and Creator completely. Always been that way. They've always tried to control it, contain it, or make a device to, as we know, to put in your system to act like what it can do, what creator can do. That's the whole thing. That's what they always wanted, to be as good as him. It's just not going to happen, because I believe that we're going to come online with that existence of creator, and it's in milliseconds that comes online, and we are evolving into that process. So I believe that that's what's going to happen, and that's what they've always tried to dismantle, is the God gene, God creation.
Jenny, do you see where it says private chat on the far right? Where it says,
yeah.
Click that button. Read that question. You see what I wrote?
Oh, so I believe sometimes we make contracts, and it might be a partner and you've seen it with the future, where they decide to give one of their family members up, and they no longer exist because you put you at a higher podium of his existence. And so you've seen that, especially in the UFO community, of all of a sudden they're gone, and then that person's at a higher podium of making herself a higher existence of being special. It's not worth it, but I mean, you've got to have a different type of soul to even do that to your family members, just to be in a hierarchy.
Do you feel comfortable mentioning names, or we just keep it?
Tinkerbell. That's her name. That's what I use.
Essentially, let's see here. My notes say here, she was his handler, and that her husband, and that he didn't see it coming. He knew she was bad. It was some type of sacrifice. He also had information they wanted to conceal. He was a good person, but she was under mind control, and her soul is guided by money and power. So
Right.
at her core, she is not benevolent.
Right.
She is not benevolent. But for all of you out there who want to know who we're talking about, just use code.
Tinkerbell. She always wears a tiara with the blonde hair. Tinkerbell. So I mean, some people want to be empowered that way, but and if they want to explain my background, they can go on my website, and then they can read my book. And then, as James knows, I believe in documentation follows the verification. I do predictions that write everything, draw everything, and I want it to come to pass. So I like to see it materialize into the truth, not just say things.
Okay. Well, you want me to go ahead and put a message out about my event?
Yes.
Okay. So I was going to do an event for 2024. We just didn't have time. And I just posted a video of a Rumble about what happened, and the people that I brought in, the investors, they decided they could do it without me. Whatever. So I put a whole story about what happened, but I'm still going to do mine in 2025, and I want you there, Jenny. So and I want mine to be special. We're going to do a cruise. So I'm going to work out all the details, guys. So just be patient. And we're going to probably go to Mexico in probably first quarter 2025. And got my itinerary right now has 14 people, 14 guest speakers. It's 5 nights. So we'll have 2 nights. We're going to see Mayan ruins. And then the other day we're going to go do more Mayan ruins, or you can go swim with some dolphins. So there'll be lots of fun activities. And I'm currently negotiating the price to make it affordable, but we're looking probably close to $850 per person. That'll include 5 nights of food, the room, and your conference ticket. So I think that's probably a steal out there to include your lodging and your food and all that for $850.
Yeah. I think go ahead. Event, and hopefully Ismail Perez is going to be there too.
Absolutely, Ishmael, you need to be there, buddy. Come on. So I want you.
Yeah. So it's all about information, not entertainment, but information that people are seeking.
I have let's see here. I want to get Courtney Brown. He said yes for 2024. We're gonna get all this stuff sorted out. We'll put a post out there. But Misha Johnston, she when she found out, she pretty much begged me to put her on the roster. It's like, okay, Misha, by all means, you deserve it. You've put the hard work for your SSP support groups. So it is an SSP event. We have David Lotherington, you have a spot where I brought him on board 2024. We're going to bring Jody and Will. Of course, we have Chris O'Connor, Raw Cloud, and I'm pretty sure Tyler and Aaron will come. We'll see, because I know they're really busy in the spring next year, but we'll see. And Oksana, I'll see you on the boat, guys. We got more people with John Bond, so I'll put the full announcement of the crew and the dates once all that's available. So yeah, but go ahead.
Another thing that I want to say is, like, if people really want to see my documentation, you can always go to Instagram. They have all that of years of predictions and writings and drawings, and then I have a Patreon, but you can see a lot of it on Instagram. They want to read all of that stuff. So
thank you. And I guess you'll be doing your like an expo, or you can do readings, or you can just do a presentation. I know we can discuss.
Well, I mean, we talked about, thing is like, we talked about doing a gallery setup, and I, instead of doing a demo thing, I wanted to do like a 2.5 hour one, because I'm about I mean, the last one I did was like 96 people, and then I actually stayed there for a couple hours doing that, and then just opening up to anybody that they want them to bring through on the spiritual side, and give the DNA, the details, the information of, and this is not in an entertainment process, is like real stuff that happens. This is real. So it gets emotional, and it gets really detailed.
Thank you, Jenny. So where can people learn more about your work?
Well, you can go to my website, www.jennysssight.net. And that has all my information on there, and it has all the predictions, remote viewing, all that stuff is on there. And then Instagram has a lot of the prediction stuff, and the classes, and the remote viewing for artifacts. I do that a lot for remote stuff, for wills, all that stuff too. And then readings, classes, remote viewing class, mediumship, all that stuff is on there too. So they can go read all the research on that and all the documentation.
So you could talk to your dead parents if you want.
Yeah.
You can find missing treasure.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Missing persons.
I do a lot of wills where people didn't leave a will, and I'm sitting there. The spirit is talking about the item that they want, where it needs to go, and how they describe it. I've done stuff that they forgot about the items and where it's at, and they've told them too. So, and then I do land, where they've left items on the land, they don't know where they're at too. Finding treasure areas where they left money, all kinds of different stuff. People ask for different stuff. And then, of course, the mediumship classes, intuitive classes. But the thing is just like, I said, documentation. These are remote viewing and stuff like that. You got to be able to back it up. There's no way of getting out of a situation when you're finding or looking for something. You've got to be able to show where it's at. That's the difference. You can't wing it. There's no possible way.
But Jenny's site, 2 S's.
2 S's.
.net.
Yes.
Great. Awesome. So if you want to learn more about my work, you can go to Neological Tech, purchase a copy of the book. Thanks everybody who watched the Ishmael Perez interview. I couldn't believe the response I got, so I'm gonna have to get some more books in stock. But you can still order one. It'll come when I get it. Get yourself a meditation cube to help you relax. You put it on your lap. They have little pyramids inside that produces chi energy. It you use it while you meditate. So put a pill on your lap and put the cube there in front of you, and there's activation protocols. So those are also on my website, Neological Tech. You can also go to my nonprofit, healingsoulsurvivors.org. So yeah, if you want to support the work I do, make a donation, because I used to be getting $800 a month of donations from PayPal, and PayPal, I had about $1,800 in there, and then PayPal just froze all the money one day, and I couldn't get access to all the people that donated because I didn't have access to the account anymore. So yeah, and nobody really moved over to the new website. So if you want to support us on a regular basis, that's great, because yeah, we don't really get paid. What we do here is shadow ban. As you can see, there's no ads. Well, I get an ad on Rumble, but I only get like $20 a month from Rumble. So guys, just whatever you want to do, it's fine. So yeah, guys. So I guess we'll call it a day. And oh, one more thing, I will be speaking in Los Angeles. So the link. Oh shoot, I didn't put it. I will put it in the description once we get off here. Go check that out. Somewhere like April 11th to 14th. So if you want to hear a presentation about super soldiers and meet me in person, by all means, I'll put that in the link for you guys. So, all right. So we call it.
I think so.
Any final last messages, Jenny?
Stay in the light and stay focused on what's going on, and do the research, and look at everything yourself. Don't go by what someone says. Find it for yourself and see it for your 2 eyes only. And I believe that we're going into the golden ages, and then we're going to be thrown in that situation.
All right. Wow. I agree. Certainly, I think 2024 is going to be an amazing year. I'm going to hold on attention to the prediction that we're going to get some money this year. And yeah, everything is going to be exciting for a great awakening for all of us. So, all right. All right, everybody. We will all see you later. Goodbye, everyone. Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.